Good day, everyone. I've come once again today to teach you mathematics. Today, we want to discuss further mathematics. And the topic we want to discuss today is matrix. It is the topic that everybody knows very well. Um, Today, like I said, we want to discuss what matrix is all about. All right? A rectangular array of real numbers arranged in rows and columns is called what? A matrix. A rectangular array of real numbers arranged in rows and columns is called what? A matrix. Is it clear? Right? For example, look at what we are talking about here. We have something like this. Can you see? This is a rectangular in shape. When you have something like this, assuming you have 5, 6, maybe you have 7 here, you have 3, you have 4, and you have maybe you have 2 here, something like this. All right, this is what we know as what? A matrix. As you can see, it has the shape of what? A rectangle. All right, so what do we now call row? Row is when you move horizontally like this. So like this, you have what? Row. When you move like this, horizontal line, you have row. When you move vertically, whether you're going up or down, vertical line like this, that will give us what? Column. This one is column. So like this one, this is a column, this is another what? Column, and this is what? Another column. Can you see? So the first column here is what? 5 and 3. 5 and 3, that's the first column. Second column is what? We have 6 and what? 4. While the third column, we have what? 7 and what? 2. Can you see it? First column, second column, third column. Column is where you move vertically, vertical line. The first vertical line will give us first column. Second one will give us second column. Third one, third column. Remember, you have to start from the left hand side. Why the row, like I said, should be horizontal line. Look at the first row here, this one. So the first row will give us what? We have 5, 6, and what? 7. Why the second row? We have this, we have 3, we have 4 and 2. Can you see? When you have something like this, we call it row. When you have something like this, we call it what? Column. So if I mention column, just know I'm talking about the vertical line. That's if I follow vertically like this, what I will get in the first line, second line, third line, and so on and so forth. All right, that is what we call what? Column. There are some information you need to know about matrix before we start, so that if I'm applying it, you will know. I will say that there are guidelines that will guide us so that we do this matrix very well. Follow me, I will write them on the board and I will explain them before I will start solving some examples. All right, let's go. All right, there are things we need to know about matrix so that it will be guiding us while we are solving the problems that involve matrix. Note, the number one thing we need to know is that the number of rows is always listed first. The number of rows is always listed first. So if you want to call a matrix, you say maybe 3 by 4 matrix. If you say 3 by 4 matrix, this simply means that the first number should be what? Number of row. While the second number should be what? Number of column. It will not be number of column and number of row. Number of row will come first before what? Number of what? Column. For example, if we have something like this, I don't have much space, but I'll squeeze it here. Assuming we have a matrix like this, assuming that this is our matrix, we have maybe you have 4, we have 5, we have 6, we have 3, we have 2, and we have 1. When you look at this now, this is what? A matrix. All right, like I told you, the horizontal one will give us what? Row, while the vertical one will give us what? Column. So following this now, you notice that we have first row and second row. So we have what? 2 rows. Can you see it? We have 2 rows. Then the vertical ones will give us the column. We have 1, 2, and what? 3. That means that we have what? 3 columns. Can you see it? We have 3 columns here. Can you see it? So if you want to address this matrix, you say you have what? 2 by 3 matrix. 2 by 3 matrix. You have to write the number of rows first before what? The number of column. you are not going to write it as 3 by 2. This is wrong. Can you see it? 3 by 2. The number of columns should not come first before this. It is written like this. Number of what? Row by number of what? Column. That is what this first one is telling us, that the number of rows should be written first before what? Number of columns, if you are referring to a particular matrix. So the number of rows is always listing what? Always listed what? First. Number 2, if the number of rows is the same as number of columns of a matrix, the matrix is called what? A square matrix. Yes, of course. When the number of rows happens to be number of matrix, of course it should be a square, because you know square, all the sides are what? Equal. For example, look at what we are talking about here. When you have something like this, maybe you have 3, 2, 1, you have what? 6, you have 5, you have 4, you have what again? You have 9, you have 8, and you have this. Can you see that? Look at what they are talking about here. When you look at this now, the number of rows, we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 rows. Can you see it? 3 rows. Then the number of columns, we have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 columns. Can you see that? You have 3 columns like this. So it means that the number of rows is the same thing as number of columns. This kind of matrix, we call it what? Square matrix. When you hear square matrix, it simply means that the number of columns is equals to number of rows, or you may say number of rows is equals to number of what? Columns. When you have something like this, the term we give to it is what? We call it what? Square. When you have something like this, we call it what? A square matrix. All right. So anytime the number of rows happens to be equal to number of columns, we have a square matrix. All right. Next one you need to know is what? Number 3, the main diagonal. What do we mean by the main diagonal? All right. You know, diagonal is this line, like this one and this one. So, but look at the main one. Why is this one the main one? Because it starts from where? This left. Can you see? That is the main one. And that's how it starts from where we have row being 1, the first row. The diagonal that starts from the first row, can you see it? That's what we call what? The main diagonal. The main diagonal or leading diagonal of a square matrix. Remember they said square matrix. When you hear square matrix, what does it mean? It means that the number of rows and the number of columns must be what? Equal. All right? They said of a square matrix consists of those entries with the same row and what? Column subscript. What are they talking about here? That this diagonal, you are going to have something like 1, 1. That's 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4 here. Can you see it? And so on and so forth. So that is how it is done. As you can see, we have 1 by 1. This is not 11. This is 1 by 1. This one is 2 by 2, 3 by 3, n by 3, and so on and so forth. So this, as long as this is a square matrix, in the sense that the number of row and the number of column happen to be what? Equal. That when you follow the main diagonal, that you'll be having 1 by 1 matrix, 2 by 2 matrix, 3 by 3 matrix, and so on and so forth. All right. Next one you need to know is this number 4. It says that a matrix which has a single column, a matrix which has what? A single column is called what? A column vector. A column means what? One column vector. A column means what? Single. A column vector or a column series, a column matrix. So when you hear a matrix which has a single column, we refer to it as what? A column vector. That's vector that has only what? One column. Look at example given to us. I told you that the column is the vertical one. When you look at this now, you notice that we have only one column. That is why this can be called what? A column vector. Likewise here, if we have only what? One row, we call it what? A row vector. As you can see, I told you a row has to do with what? The horizontal one. As you can see, we have only one row. That is why this thing can be called what? A row vector. One column, a column vector. One row, a row vector. All right, I want us to talk about addition. Addition of matrix. Follow me, let us explain that one and solve some examples. Let's go.